We're Team 24, and we're working with Hearst Media on how we might better engage communities with local news. Local news exists in a difficult place. As everyone knows, the internet disrupted the news business, especially newspapers. And even in the smallest communities, it takes a lot of time to get into the weeds and know what's going on. Even if you do that, you have a very small addressable market. The only way to survive is to be as efficient as possible. With this in mind, we're building a platform to connect local journalists with the information they need, sourced directly from their communities. Basically, journalists request data relevant to upcoming stories. It could be pictures, video, any kind of information from the audience. Submissions are collated, saving the journalists the time of combing social media or cleaning data on their own. With this data in hand, journalists can write better informed journalism more efficiently and even come up with stories that otherwise would not have been possible to write. Borrowing the citizen science playbook, the contributors are motivated by civic altruism, gamification type rewards, and in some cases, low marginal cost in-kind compensation, for example, digital subscriptions. On the demand side, every conversation we've had with journalists has underscored the importance of resource constraints to their business. On top of that, everyone has expressed interest in unconventional ways of getting more bandwidth. For community members, think about how readily people contribute to Nextdoor, Citizen, Google Maps with little to no compensation. Crowdsourced content is everywhere, and it should shape the news too. Project News Oasis lists 737 independent digital news outlets across the United States. Add to that community beat reporters for larger newsrooms, and we believe there are thousands of potential users for the solution. Despite that small number, local news is a surprisingly large business. For example, Google is currently investing $300 million in the space through the Google News Initiative. On the supply side, we think there's a chance that the initial implementation could be very low cost. Borrowing open source frameworks that exist for citizen science projects, we could develop a very simple prototype application. And as we've seen, people are willing to contribute to these sorts of efforts. In terms of risks, on the upside, there's a clear potential for extension into more corporate types of research, just fully monetize the solution. We could also monetize the user data that we collect. On the downside, there's some risk of inauthentic data contributions or abusive content, right? Some people don't like journalists. At the same time, we think these downside risks are mitigable through moderation and other approaches. Thank you.